Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of ShellBlack Whiteboard, where we help you get the most out of the Salesforce platform. I'm ShellBlack, president and founder of ShellBlack.com and Salesforce MVP. Today's topic is product scheduling. It's kind of a weird topic. It's something I really can explain better if I give you some real world examples than trying to explain it. But one thing you need to think about is the close date of the opportunity is when you won the deal, when you rang the bell, when the customer said, yep, I'm going to buy this. The schedule date is when you deliver those products or when you recognize the revenue from those products. So let's go through product scheduling. There's two flavors, product schedules and revenue schedules. Product schedules, the best way I can do this is, and again, an example. So let's say that you're selling magazines. Someone buys for $55 the amount of the opportunity. They buy 36 issues of this magazine. So you sold it on one date, the close date, but you're delivering or you're doing the shipment or the fulfillment of that product over time. So you might have the first month as June 2014, and that runs 3 years out, and you stop delivering on June 2017. So this is when your units are being fulfilled of those products. Again, delivery, shipment, or the fulfillment of what you sold. You sold it on your close date, and that's when you want it. Your product schedule tells you when you're delivering that product. Let's take a look at our revenue schedule. Still has to do with products. I'm going to give you another example. You're selling a car lease. So someone's buying a $600 a month lease for 36 months. And if I do my math right, that's $21,600. Maybe that's the amount field on the opportunity. So you sold a lease with a contract value of $21,600, the amount. You sold it on a certain day. That's your close date. But you don't bill or invoice or recognize the revenue except month by month. So you're not recognizing all $21,000 worth of revenue. It depends on when the lease starts and when the lease ends. And every month you're recognizing or getting paid, or billing or invoicing, however you want to look at it, $600 over a schedule or a period of time. So when you ship or deliver units, dollars getting billed. Let me give you a couple of other examples of some real life product schedules that I've had with my clients. So the first one I'm going to give you is there was a national retailer that we were working with, had hundreds of stores across the U.S., and they were constantly buying leases for new stores, negotiating leases. So leases would go through, 3-year lease, 5-year lease. They'd have increases over time. And what the CFO wanted to know was his lease obligation, right? So he wanted to know what a report we call the rent roll. So for all those different months, he'd have different amounts due for all these stores, but he wanted to know for any fiscal period, Q4, whatever it is, how much are we obligated, how much are we going to need to hold back as a company to make sure that we're meeting our lease obligations. I'm going to give you a schedule example here in a little bit. The other one is a magazine publisher, and this was more of a product schedule, but they were selling advertising for a magazine, inside front cover, back cover, so many quarter-page ads, half-page ads. And they're allowing their salespeople to mark, if they sold a quarter-page ad, which month they fulfilled it, because there's a finite amount of inventory that they could sell in a magazine. You only have so many back covers, you only have so many inside covers, 2-page spreads, whatever. And so by month, based on when people sold that inventory, they could run a schedule, kind of like we've got over here. You could run a schedule and see what was the available inventory to sell. This is a good visual representation of a product schedule, and almost in a report format, you can run a report to see a product schedule. So what I've got is two products. I have a $100 product, which is product one. I have a $300 product, which is product two. Product one we sell monthly for $100. Product two we sell quarterly for $300. And so if I ran a report of all the opportunities that I had with all these two products, I can start to see how, based on when we sold the product and where the revenue was scheduled, I can start looking at totals at the bottom across all my opportunities to see what my revenue would be. So product one, we started the schedule on January. We sold it for the rest of the year at $100. Product two, maybe it's on the same opportunity. We sell it for $300 and we sell it quarterly, so it fell in March and June. Another product one got sold. This time we started the product schedule in February, ran it out for the rest of the year. Product two, this time we sold it in April, and the next quarter for that person was in July. Product one started April, rest of the year. Product two is a quarterly product, started in June, did not have another one. but I can start running a report and I can start seeing my totals of all my products as they were scheduled out over time. So we've got 8 months here. This may have been an $800 sale, but I'm recognizing the revenue or scheduling that revenue out over time, and then I can aggregate that out. So kind of like that rent roll obligation I was doing. If these were leases for different stores, you can aggregate that. So the way this works is you have an opportunity, you've got a product on that opportunity, you sold it for a certain amount. Once you've won the deal, you click a button to create a product schedule. And you've got 3 fields that you'll end up getting that you'll want to pick to establish this schedule. So the first thing is a schedule type, and it basically says you've got a dollar amount for that product, say it's $1,200. Do you want to divide that amount into equal revenue installments, or maybe it's a quantity, maybe you had 12 quantity, or do you want me to divide the quantity out over equal installments? Again, is it a revenue dollar schedule, or is it a product number schedule? And then once you say what you want to divide, either the units, the quantity, or the amount, what's the installment period? So what's the frequency? Is it going to be weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever it's going to be? And then how many installments do we want to do? 4 installments if it's quarterly, 12 installments if it's monthly. How do you want me to break up that number? So what this does is a little wizard, and Salesforce will schedule out based on these filters that you pick up front and create the schedule. You can always go back and adjust. So maybe you want to pull a little bit of money in the front, maybe you want to back off the amount in the back. And there's actually a recalculate button so you can check your total. So if you know that you're tweaking the schedule, but you know you need to come up with $1,200 for the total sales price, you can just double check your math real quick and have it resum all the amounts to make sure that you're still on schedule. Okay, so hopefully that helped. I think product schedules is best illustrated using examples. So I hope some of those examples help. That's it for this segment. If you have any feedback on how we're doing, you can hit us a couple of ways. You can hit us on Twitter, Shell_Black, or you can send us an email by sending an email to whiteboard@ShellBlack.com. I appreciate you tuning in. We hope to see you soon on a future installment.